What's up? Y'all give me just a second. Let me go pause this. I just had a major breakthrough with the CNC. All right. How is everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Back in the shack. Can y'all hear me? Everything working? Whew. All right, guys. I'm gonna give it a minute and see if anybody else shows up. But yeah, I had been having a little bit of withdrawal from the machines, so I got back. Uh, First of all, uh, there's a little thing that I need a favor from some of you guys, and many of you may not be able to help me with this favor. But I've been, unfortunately, Steve did not get to go to WorkbenchCon with me. As was planned, he had some stuff going on, and just life just got complicated and didn't get to make it. So I did represent well for me and Steve. I got made some pretty good connections, made some friends with some cool people, got me some really good bits for the CNC that I'm going to be trying out later. But I had an issue that I couldn't figure out where I was going wrong. I knew it was me. But for any of you guys that were to ever get a spindle to put on your machine and you're using Vectric, little tip for you. If you're used to running a router and so your RPMs in your bits are set to, like, say, I don't know, 1200, 1300, 1600, because that's what the router runs. If you upgrade to a spindle, you got to go rack and retool all of your cut speeds, because Vectric, apparently, if Vectric tells the spindle to run 1200 RPMs and it's a 8000 minimum spindle, it just does nothing. So I figured that one out. That was something that had me a little stumped last week, but I was in a hurry trying to play with the machine and I didn't get to address it. But I got back today and that was me testing the file to see if that was the problem. And that was indeed the problem. I've got to go back and rebuild my speeds and feeds library. Luckily, these bits that I just got today all have the speeds on the packing. So I've got to build that file out before I can start testing those. But even some of my older bits, I've got to start all over on my speeds and feeds. So been working on that. But I need a favor from you guys before moving forward, because I feel a little guilty. I got to go over to WorkbenchCon and meet some people and pick up a few new subscribers and that type of thing. And currently, Steve is like just a few subs short of 13,000. And we were talking on the phone earlier, and he mentioned, yeah, he's really close. He's not quite there yet. So if you haven't already, or if you know anybody that hasn't already subscribed to Steve, could you get them to go do it before the live tonight? Maybe like share something, share it in some of your groups, folks that you know, or work groups or whatever, people that might. It's in the description, already there. It's in the description of the channel down below. Should be on Facebook, YouTube, all of those guys. There should be in the description. There should be one as well, as I think I put it in the restream event. It should also be there. But if not, let me see if I can get it to paste in here without breaking my chat again. But yeah, he's got 11 to go, guys. And like I said, I kind of feel bad because I picked up a few subs over there at the event. Some of the other creators, made a few friends, got to meet some folks that I watched a lot of their content, but had never got to shake their hand. So I just want to kind of return the favor before tonight's live. And, we got a lot of stuff. I don't want to let all the cats out of the bag as far as the event goes. But like I said, I did make some pretty good connections. I found some equipment that I got to have. I found some equipment that Steve really needs. And so all in all, it was a success. I have kind of, for some reason, lost my voice slightly. I don't know if that's maybe somebody over there had a cold or something and failed to tell everybody about it or what. But So if you hear my voice going up and down, guys, it's not puberty. Done been there, done that. It's something else. But yeah, the event was fun. It was cool. I like I said, I met a lot of guys and gals alike that have channels that are some really cool folks. Some of them may actually be on this channel in the future. One particular person that a lot of you may know, and I'm going to give him a shout out, is James Dean from the UK. Never really thought I'd bump into that guy. I mean, I've watched a lot of his content because we test out a lot of the same machines, and I like to go and watch other people's reviews and see, see if maybe they saw something that I didn't see about the machine or whatever before I complete my opinion of a machine. And he's one of those guys that I trust his opinion. And guys, when I met him in person, he was one of only like 3 people that actually knew who I was, and I was like blown away by the fact that he actually recognized me and all that. And I got another fella that I actually had supper with last night that I got to sit and we got to sit and talk about lasers and woodworking and just general life altogether. And I'm going to share something with you guys that kind of caught me a little off guard. I met like some pretty big names in YouTube, and it was cool. It was nice to be able to shake their hand after watching their content. But I never really got as excited as I did when I got to sit down and actually talk to somebody that's been watching the live for the past year. That was pretty cool. I got to meet one of the guys that he's in our lives. Like, he knew everything about me, the names of the cat. He knew about Brandy and Brian's back and forth in the comments. That was awesome. And so one thing that I want to make sure to tell everybody is that I appreciate the support for the channel. It has been phenomenal, and I didn't really realize, because I went over there thinking that a lot of these channels were going to be just massive, but it was a lot of guys that are new to the whole media outlet. And I will be sharing some links to some of the folks that I made friends with while I was over there here soon. Some of them you may already know of. Some of them you may have never heard of. There were some folks that actually do laser stuff that I'd never run across or whatever. So there may be some people maybe coming into some shows or maybe splitting up and doing some lives with them or whatever in the future. But today I want to concentrate on getting Steve those 11 subs, because I've been like sitting here hitting the refresh button trying to get him to that 13,000 before tonight. I do. Like I said, if nothing else, I managed to figure out while I was talking to the folks at Vectric what I was doing wrong with my software, because I was asking them about the issue I was having, and they're like, "No, that should work even with the spindle. There's got to be something else." And they were giving me the number to call and talk to their tech support, and I'm like, I think I know where I screwed up. So I said, but I'll have to wait till I get home where I can check it. And got home, and sure enough, I was correct. The software is so precise that if the input value of the spindle is not supported by what you put in Vectric, it just does nothing. So make sure you always look. And I didn't pay attention to the fact that my minimum and maximum RPMs are stamped on the front of the spindle. And you may notice that there's a sticker that has been put on the front of my spindle now. And that's going to be to support another guy that I met this week that's really cool. And as much as I like, selling stuff for Amazon and stuff like that to help keep the lights on here at the shack, I told him that I would be supporting him in his business. And that is Cody over at the, I can't even remember. The name of his business is kind of long, but you guys know who I'm talking about. He sells the Jenny bits. And I got myself a handful of these things, and I bought them. He offered to give me a couple of them to demo, but after hearing Steve and everybody talk about his bits, I went online. He told me he had them with him and had them in his truck, and he would be willing to hand deliver them to me instead of me having to wait on shipping. And so that sounded like a really sweet deal. And so I bought, like, I don't know, every bit I thought I would need for the next couple of months. And so I'll be testing those out and trying to support him over at his business. We talked about the manufacturing process and, how he stepped out on a limb and bought all of his own equipment so he can make his bits in-house and all that. And I think that's really cool. And I like supporting other folks that are trying to, do what they love and make a living doing it. So that's something to come. And like I said, he does have a sticker on my spindle. So anytime the video is done with the Shapeco, we're going to be kind of helping promote him as well. I can't speak personally to how well the bits work, but I've talked to some really trusted folks that ensure me I will not be disappointed. And so I'm going to be using those. But just so you know, he's gonna be possibly on the channel. He didn't say no. Let's put it that way. When I asked him about it, he just kind of smiled and said that would be cool. But that was as far as we went with it because everybody was over there. He was trying to make contacts and meet up with people and everything. So he didn't say no. And I feel like after talking to him for just bits and pieces over several days, I feel like that is something to come. And I don't know how many of y'all like or know or watch James from James Dean, but I'm thinking I might try that. As long as we can put this whole 1776 thing behind us, which it seemed to be, it seemed we had. We got along really well. We talked to a couple of companies that had some equipment that we liked, and I will probably be changing out my dust collection here soon because I have found the quietest dust collection system I've ever seen in my life. And it blew my hat off seeing it run and hearing it run, and that'll allow me to be able to do more content with the CNC running without making a mess. So yeah, there's gonna be some stuff coming through, hopefully here in the future. And like I said, not trying to. Me and Steve, y'all know we're oh Steve, your sub count, Steve, says 13K. Steve, I can't see the exact number, but it popped over to 13. So did we do it? Did we pull it off? Let me see if I can expand it and go down here. It just says 13K. So Steve, I think we made it. I think we made it. So Steve can be happy tonight. And yeah, I need to add the link for Cadence to some of my stuff as well. And like I said, me and Steve have talked about it. Steve supports him already and has for a while. But we're going to kind of be a little more vocal about it and trying to help Cody out with what he does. And maybe if he likes the response, maybe we can get him to come on the live and answer some questions. He did tell me that he's not really big into doing YouTube videos, but maybe we can talk him into it. And there was a few other folks. I got to hang out with Nick from Build Dad Build, and my buddy Daniel from over at Live Pixel Creations. Daniel actually talked me into going to a Peruvian restaurant and eating a plate of miscellaneous things from below the ocean and below the sea. It was unique because I was one of those people that had the misconception that anybody south of Texas ate Mexican. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. But it was not anything remotely close to what I was used to in Mexican restaurants. So Daniel does a lot of stuff with the customization of machines and that type thing. So, and it was pretty cool hanging out with him for a couple of days, having somebody to hang with, since Steve didn't get to go with me because, as you know, I'm one of those type personalities that when you meet me in person, you're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. There's really not any middle ground. So some of those guys probably were a little put back by me because I'm a little abrasive or forward for some folks. But I did manage to find a few friends that I could hang out with that didn't want to choke me to death. And most folks they may want to choke me to death, but most of them just aren't willing to try it. So my buddy James Dean, me and him got along. It was almost as if I had known him for the past 2.5 years because he was exactly like he acts in his videos. The accent may have been a little thicker, but I don't know if that was just because I was talking to him in person or what, but he definitely has the British accent. The folks from Vectric, Tom, I believe, Todd. Is it Todd or Tom? Hang on. I got a card somewhere here I got to look at. Got to talk to him, Todd. That would be Todd. But got to talk to him. He was willing to help me if I had issues with Vectric. And luckily, I did not have any issues other than my oversight on my speeds and feeds issue, which I thought about it on the way over there. I was like, That's probably what it is that spindle is reading the speed from the G code. And because it's not capable of doing that, it's just doing nothing. And that is exactly what was happening. So I am happy because now I can start designing in VCarve. Nothing against Carbide 3D software, but I've kind of gotten comfortable in VCarve. And I think that's where I'm going to do my designing. I do like the motion software that they have for executing the designs, but VCarve is just, it's more light burnish, so I'm a little more comfortable in it. So let me go through these comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. I keep glancing over, guys, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm tired because I've been staying up late, networking with people, sitting around talking about what I do, what they do, and all that. And there may or may not have been a few refreshments involved in that. Social, nothing too severe, but it was some late nights, early mornings, long days on your feet, walking and meeting new people. I think there was over 300 different channels represented there, and it was it was nice. It was fun. All walks of life, all different places, everywhere. I think we had all 50 states covered up as far as where creators were from. The Northeast and the Southeast probably accounted for a big majority of them, but they were from all over the place. Like I said, James came over from England even, and the folks from Vectric were from England. So I mean, it was a cool event. Uh, Lots and lots and lots of good information, people speaking. Just like I said, I got to meet the folks from 731 Woodworks. Got to meet Andy Bird. Got several others. Just too many to mention, but it was definitely fun. And I think somebody just popped up there. Where was it at? It was in Atlanta, Georgia, which luckily for me is only a 3 hour drive. So I didn't have to pay for a plane ticket or anything. I drove over. I actually left this morning at about, well, it was 8 o'clock there. So it was probably 9 o'clock Central Time, and even stopped by home Lowe's on the way home and picked up some supplies and made it home before lunch. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, well, Steve's officially over 13,000. That was one of my main goals. I wanted to get him up there because it's these milestones. We keep setting milestones for ourselves, and that's one of those that I can appreciate. Like I said, I kind of felt bad not getting to take him with me, or take him with me, not getting to hang out with him over at the event. It would have been nice if we could have. We're going to try to next year, hopefully, have a little better luck with being able to go over there and hang out and do more stuff. And I didn't do a whole lot of videoing, guys, because they had music playing the whole time and it was loud, and I didn't want to get a bunch of strikes from the music that was playing, and I didn't. It just wasn't. It really wasn't for that. I went there to make connections with other people, other companies, all that kind of stuff, to try to see what kind of equipment's out there. So, but it worked out well, and like I said, I'll try to pop in a few links for some of the other folks. There's a lot of channels that, I considered myself like an infant in the world of YouTube, but I forget that like 2 years ago I was struggling to get to 1,000, and there was a lot of folks over there that were kind of in that same boat that I used to be. And we all have to go through that. Everybody, you have to start at zero, no matter how hard you want it or how big you want it. I just got a little lucky, and y'all, my dog has missed me so much. He keeps rolling the ball out of the yard where he can't get to, and then he's just sitting there barking, wanting me to go get the ball and throw it to him. But then when I do that, he goes and takes the ball, rolls it back down the hill, and then just sits there and barks at it. And I'm tired of walking up and down the hill today, so y'all gonna have to hear him bark. So if you hear Max barking in the background, he's not hurt. He wants me to come outside, go get the ball, and play because he's been missing me for like the past 3 days. I was talking to Brandy on the phone the other day, and he went running around the room like he thought I was in the room somewhere looking for me. So he's in he's in that I want to play for a little while mode right now. What's up, Hobo? What's up, 3DHP? Everybody that said hey and welcome home and all that, I appreciate it. But yeah, 3DHP, it was in Atlanta, right over here, right near me. So that worked out good. But yeah, dang, Chris, what happened to the internet? Kangaroo chew the wire up, or what? But hello, Miss Sharon, Chris, how are y'all? But yeah, that was about it, guys. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get all the spill all the new happenings, and there's just a couple of things that are still kind of in the works. Yeah, I went out there and threw the ball for him 2 or 3 times, Jenny. He just keeps rolling it, or Jenny. Can't remember which one we went with it on that, but he keeps taking it back up in the yard and he rolls it, and you can watch him. He'll drop the ball, and it'll start rolling down the hill, and he just kind of looks over toward the shack, like my ball is rolling down the hill, and then when it finally goes outside, he's just like starts barking, want me to come get it. Uh, what's up? Light source engraving, lasers and more. How are you doing over there, Sir Patrick? Wicked laser designs. I didn't see that. Who's is that? Somebody commenting? But yeah, it was fun. I did miss being at home though, guys. I will say that you forget how relaxing and how much of your I don't know, calmness comes from playing with your toys in your shop until you don't have a shop to play in because you're like 3 hours from home. So, I did miss the family before anybody says anything. Yes, I missed my family, but I also missed my tools. So, yeah. What's up, House of Hollins? How are you there, sir? I keep seeing some of the stuff you're doing some good work over there. A windstorm that renovated a tower. That's never good. Playing farmer, second sheep, twin sheep. So you getting sheep? Well, see, you don't milk sheep. You're just going to start wearing some wool. Yeah, I guess Vince. I guess you could say in a way, but it is part of my mental sanity. I guess you could say because that's it's therapeutic for me and I enjoy it. And that was one thing too, guys. I grew up. I don't know how many of you grew up listening to the Motel 6 commercial where the guy comes, "I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you." I actually met that guy and got to shake his hand. That was cool. Uh, but he spoke at the event. He was one of the speakers, probably about halfway through the event. And when I heard him start talking, I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. And I didn't read the thing to see who it was, and it took me a minute, but then finally it hit me who he was, and I'm like, that's why I recognized the voice, because like when I was a kid, that commercial was everywhere. But he little did I know that guy actually is a woodworker and plays with all kinds of tools and actually has a business, which is kind of what I would like to do one day. He has a maker space, more or less, which is also a school that teaches folks how to use machines. And he works with like the Boys and Girls Ranch and stuff like that to get kids in there and teach them how to do things. One of the things that they were doing was like making skateboards from scratch. And I thought that was kind of cool. Never knew that about the guy. All I knew him for was the Motel 6 commercials. But he was talking about that and some struggles that he went through in his life, and how woodworking was his, muse of sorts. And I could kind of relate to that stuff, because it is very relaxing, and it helps kind of take the edge off when you've had a really crummy day to come in the shop and actually make something. And y'all notice this is the Clack Shack logo I did the other day. My very first engrave on the new Shapeoko, which I had to do using their software because I couldn't get Vectric to kind of. I figured out what my problem was now, but at the time I was in a hurry, and so I wound up using the Carbide Create and Carbide Motion to make this, which it turned out really nice. But while I was over there, I got to meet Jess Crow, who does a lot of epoxy work. And you probably, if you went to WorkbenchCon and looked at their videos, you probably, I think Steve said he saw me in the video on WorkbenchCon doing my little project they had us do, and it was just, it was just this little crazy epoxy pour. But I managed to get some epoxy and some pigment samples that I'm gonna be playing with to finish out that logo, because I want to take that logo and replace the little small like 8-inch one that you see over the CNC. I'm gonna go replace that with this guy, but we're gonna play with epoxy. I've done some epoxy, but not really a lot of it where I went through the process. So I'm gonna do that, and also just to give Total Boat, which was one of the sponsors of the event, kind of give them a little shout out, because they did like provide lunch and all that cool stuff, and got to talk to some of those folks, and they even let me take a class and make sure I knew what I was doing before they sent me home with this. And another project that I got coming is I got a whole bunch of stickers from different channels while I was over there. So I plan on getting a piece of Lexan or plexiglass or acrylic, something big that's clear, and I'm gonna CNC it, but I'm gonna put all these stickers on it first, and then I'm gonna cut it out with the CNC and maybe try to find somewhere that I can afford to give up a little bit of space to kind of hang it. It's getting to the point, guys. I like my big flag, but I may have to repurpose that area and maybe go with something smaller, because there's a lot of real estate behind that flag that I could use for cool stuff like this. So we'll see. Rolling. What we got going on here? Wife raises sheep, baby doll sheep. Okay, so it's a pet. You're not really milking them or trimming their hair or anything. Yeah, Hobo. I love for you to test the rolling November. Yeah, I could, like I said, but so far I'm pretty happy with my settings. But Hobo took some of my advice and did a video the other day on bamboo, but he took what I did and like expanded upon it extensively and did some testing. So if any of you guys have had problems with bamboo, he did do a video the other day on the whole process and what he does a little differently to try to get better results. And he said he had some pretty good results on the bamboo that he's got. So yeah. Oh, look at there. There's Daniel himself right there. But anyway, guys, there is a live Pixel Creations. Like I said, we hung out for the weekend. I did find out that this guy does not fit in a Toyota RAV4 easily. Like you have to kind of get in and do this whole like head roll thing. But Daniel was kind of chauffeured me around a little bit, so I didn't have to get old silver, which is my truck's a full size F-150. And in Atlanta and some of these parking lots, it's not fun trying to find a place to park. So me and Daniel rode around a lot to go get something to eat and see the sights. What little bit we actually left the event, because I tried my best to stay at the event the entire time. I was there to do networking and talk to people and learn things, and that's what I wanted to do, and we did a lot of it. But yeah, he wound up leaving last night. So, but luckily I met some other folks. One of the guys from the live, which I'm gonna hopefully remember to mention Don in the live later tonight. But I got to take a selfie with him, and like I said, that was actually one of the coolest moments of everybody I met there. To be honest with you, was meeting somebody that actually watched the videos. So even though some of those guys were, famous or whatever on YouTube, that was actually probably one of my more exciting moments, is when somebody like recognized me and was like, Clack. And he actually watched the videos because he knew the names of the cats. He knew Brandy's name. He knew me well. So that was very humbling, and I was impressed and glad to actually meet somebody, because I'll be honest with you guys, there's a whole bunch of people over there that didn't know who I was. And that's cool, but I was actually hoping they would be at least like 10, but I think there was only like 5. So we'll see maybe next year, maybe I'll have a little bit more exposure in the next year. When I go over there next year, maybe I can see it. So you're thinking maybe put them on the stairs? I can't block the stairs because the cats actually use the stairs, as y'all see all the time. But I'll find somewhere to put it. I'll get it somewhere. I mean, I could move my little deer hunting sign right there that's been in here 10 years. I could move that and put it over there on top of that piece of tin. That would kind of help take some of that reflection off that tin as well. Leslie. Well, hello, Leslie. Well, welcome aboard. Leslie says she's a multimedia artist and works with epoxy, woods, metals, acrylic, and is new to the laser world. Well, Leslie, if you will hit the subscribe button here or over at Ventari's or both, we will definitely help you, be able to help you out with that. Be sure to store your unused epoxy in the dark. Well, it's going to be stored in here. And it generally stays around 69.9 right now. I've got it set to 70. So I think we're good. But thanks for the advice. Hopefully it won't yellow. They claimed it wouldn't. They claimed it would not yellow, but we'll see. I've only done a handful of small things with epoxy, never done a whole lot. But me and Daniel went to that class the other day, and we were making our little epoxy pies, it looked like, which I should have went back by there and picked that thing up. I didn't think about it. But it was kind of cool. I was like, you know what? I could probably make a pretty cool looking project. And there was a couple of other guys there that were making signs, and they were pouring them with epoxy and using acrylic, and it very complex, but they were actually adding LED lights, and it looked really sharp. I'm going to have to do some research and come up with a way of doing that using the different machines, but I would like to make me one like that. That was actually really cool. I told them I did mirrors, but it wasn't the same as what they did, because theirs were like 3D, but they were in resin and acrylic. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, guys, I am going to be messing with the shop tools for a little while. Get it out of my system. Maybe go get some lunch because I haven't eaten yet. Oh, welcome to the show, Fluffy. How are you? Yeah, anybody that says cats don't recognize their name, they don't know these cats very well. Now, apparently, they had the run of the place while I was gone, and have also missed hanging out in the shack, or missed me. I don't know, but Fluffy usually doesn't hang out in here during the day, but today she's been just kind of all over the place. I do need to go around and make sure I haven't got any surprises or gifts laying around anywhere, because a lot of times, yep, there she goes. This is why I can't cover up the steps. Fluffy cannot climb as well as she used to, so she has to use the ladder. So I can't cover up the steps. I've got to leave a passageway for the cats, or I'm going to have to develop a cat elevator. One of the two. But anyway, guys, any questions, comments? Anybody want to share with Steve any more subscribes, anything like that? That would be awesome. That like button. Yeah, I mean, y'all can hit the like button if you want. Like I said, I just wanted to come in and check in with everybody. Put the stickers on the risers on the steps. Well, I would, but then if I do build my new shop, I don't want to take the steps with me. I'm wanting to put them on a piece of acrylic or something so I can take them with me, because I do plan on building me another shop in a couple of years, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is every year when I go to WorkbenchCon, collect stickers, put them on a board, and engrave like the WorkbenchCon logo. Hopefully they won't get mad about that. And 2024, 2025, 2026, whatever. So that's kind of why I want to do it on acrylic, so it'll kind of look like they're on the wall, but they're not. I can move them. So I'll work that out. I'll figure out something that works. I could always move that shelf right there. There's really nothing that I use that for other than just like, I don't know. I've got an old gas can, an old coffee pot, a piece of lava, and a photo up there. That's all I got up there. So I could always move that stuff. What's up? Shelby Horner. I don't know if his first name, last name. Shelby Horner, SNH Graphics. Wow, I do need to go eat. My eyes ain't working. But yeah, it's been a long weekend, guys. But it was fun. It was well worth it. And man, I hate to run, but we will have an opportunity. 7 p.m. Central, if you're somewhere else. We will be back with our, Dickie, I did meet up with Nick from PWNC, and he was trying to hook me up with some stuff to try out, but they currently don't offer attachments for the Shapeco. But as I said, I didn't just go over there for myself. I did tell them that my buddy Steve has a Onefinity, and that he might be interested in playing with some of their dust boots and stuff like that. And I happen to know that Steve is not happy with his current dust boot setup, so I gave Steve their Nick's number to get in touch with him, and so maybe if nothing else, Steve will end up with a nice yellow and black dust boot out of the deal. But the guys from PWNC did also, and I don't know if they get a commission on the sale or not, but they also sold me on the X1 Carbon because, and you may even see video of me. I've got a little clip of video, but they printed the parts to, hang on, be right back. They actually printed the parts to a brush to use with your CNC, and I got to put it together, which I had never put inserts in 3D printed parts. So I'm gonna have to make a purchase and buy one of those little machines, the little soldering iron that you use to put those pieces in with, because that was cool. I usually just try to make the hole a little small and tap it, but the metal insert's much better. But they printed this on an X1 Carbon, and I got to sit there and watch that thing turn these out. And I think I'm going to go ahead. The job that I was going to hand off to somebody else for printing like 150 of those little holders that I designed, instead of passing that job off, I think I'm going to go ahead and order myself an X1 Carbon and use that job to recoup most of the expense that I will incur by buying the machine. So that's probably going to happen now that I got to see it in action, because I literally got to watch those guys over there printing these things out on the machine, and it went together really. I mean, they had a really cool process, but they made me put it together myself. I just had a box of parts. Like, I had some screws, I had the inserts, I had this piece, I had that piece, I had the brush, and they made me sit down at the table and put it together myself, which was pretty cool. Like I said, I got to get me a press. The magnets, I actually pressed those in with basically like a little drill press looking thing, which they did say you could do this with a drill press and like a wooden dowel or something, but I don't even have a drill press here. So, but yeah. Yeah. Well, Dickie, I've already got all the Shapeco, the Sweepy Pro, and all the parts with the spindle and everything. If I had I could use their parts, but the one that they make is basically, there may or may not have been some research done by Shapeco on their their dust boot, but the Sweepy Pro that I bought for my Shapeco, I don't know that you can make one that works even much better than that. So, but I like it. It works well, and this thing has magnets on it. I can't really show you here because I don't have anything metallic, but I've got to figure out where I'm going to put it. Right now, I've just been sitting it beside the CNC, but it's a pretty cool brush. And I got this cool little keychain that I put my keys from my computer. I put my keys from my computer on this cool little keychain. So, yeah, light source. I'm going to have to be looking into that, but I've got to get the printer first, and then go from there. I don't like the screen on the P1S. Yeah, like I said, the X1 Carbon is, after seeing this, now he said they printed these out of PETG, but I need to print ABS, but I mean, I wouldn't see why that printer would do any much different anyway than what it did on this, and this is definitely pretty cool. So it was a neat event. But anyway, yeah, I guess I could use a regular soldering iron, but then I'd have to change my bit out, my soldering iron every time I want to do something different. So, yeah, I could just get another cheap soldering iron. I just don't like having to swap them back and forth with the bits, I guess. Or I could just buy me a better soldering iron and then one that wouldn't be so aggravating to swap the bits out on. That might be the best thing, just to buy a better soldering iron. But yeah, it was very interesting. And like I said, y'all please stop by tonight for the live, and me and Steve will be in there. But for now, guys, I got to get some time with my CNC to test out some of these bits and play around. I hate it. I hate to leave you guys. I do appreciate the support, but like I said, if nothing else came from the Workbench Con, it is that I've learned that I actually get a little bit more of a rush meeting people that actually like the content and watch my videos than I do meeting people that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, because it was actually cool. Like I said, got to meet some did get to meet some really cool folks, but it was that experience stood out to me more than meeting all of these guys that have 500,000 subscribers. Meeting that one guy that watches those Sunday night lives was like that was that was awesome. So maybe in the future we can, if I do get to travel somewhere, we can go meet up again and talk to some folks. But yeah, that's it. Unless somebody's got a question or whatever, I'm gonna go play with the CNC for a while, and then I'll see you guys about 7 in the live show, and maybe we can go over some more of it. I'm gonna try to get the pictures transferred over to the computer, so maybe I can show you a few pictures and stuff. If you haven't been following along with my Facebook page, I've also got a couple of photo dumps I got to do from the last day, which was yesterday, uh, complete with the picture of myself and Don from supper last night, hanging out in the lobby of the motel. So, but anyway, see y'all in a few minutes. I'm gonna go grab a sandwich and get to playing with CNC. But later, guys. Appreciate you for coming, and congratulations on 13,000, Steve.